All of these Catholic martyrs. It's quite trippy actually. And I love the difference in colour. Isn't it very modern? It's quite bizarre. Hi everyone, I am back. It's Sinead with Free Tours by London, and I am on the move again. Now this morning I came to London, Victoria. I've taken a short stroll about 3 to 4 minutes away, and right now I'm going to take you into the Catholic Mother Church of England and Wales. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the stunning Westminster Cathedral. Now this morning I will be taking you through. I've had permissions to attend it. This gentleman is here behind me saying hello. I've had permissions to attend inside the church. Mass is being celebrated at the moment. So first I want to talk to you a little bit about the side it's on and the stunning Victoria area and the architecture of this amazing place. A bit of pressure on this one, being an Irish Catholic girl as well. I want to get this right. I think my eternal salvation will depend upon it. So stay tuned. Tour inside Westminster Cathedral. Now I'm going to walk towards it to give you the full effect of this amazing building just near Victoria Station. Now technically it's the Mother Church of Catholics in England and Wales. Scotland has its own hierarchy, but there are dedications to the Welsh and Scottish saints inside there. Beautiful little chapels off the main altar chapel, so we'll see that just very shortly. But originally the land was Tothill Fields, and it was a marshland area around this area, and it was drained by the monks of Westminster. But after the Reformation, the land became disused, and it was used after the Civil War as a prisoner of war camp for Scottish prisoners that were camped here before they were shipped overseas. Now there are Victorian flats on either side of the building, and they actually predate the cathedral itself. Then it was a prison for a period of time, Tothill's prison, I believe, in the area, until Cardinal Manning. He bought the land and was going to build some Catholic schools on the land. However, it was Cardinal Vaughan, the third archbishop, who commissioned John F. Bentley to actually build a cathedral on the site. Now Bentley, rather than copy the much loved Westminster Abbey in its Gothic style architecture, or St. Paul's Cathedral in its Baroque style, he went for this Neo-Byzantine style, which kind of centers around marbles and mosaics, and you wait until you see inside. It's truly stunning. So we're just going to move up straight ahead here. It's mostly brick, this beautiful red brick outside, but inside it's rather a little darker inside. I must chat to this gentleman now in 1 second. So I just wanted to show you at the very top there, you have a beautiful statue of Christ and Our Lady, surrounded by the saints, and is dedicated to the precious blood of Jesus Christ. And you'll see Dominum Jesu. My Latin isn't great, but the dedication of that is to Lord Jesus, through your precious blood you have saved us. So I'm going to have a quick chat with this gentleman who keeps looking at me because I'm looking for my permissions to get in. I'll be right back with you. One thing that I won't be doing today is visiting the observation deck at the top of the cathedral's tower, which at the time of filming was under renovation. Normally, the observation deck is open daily for a nominal fee, and you will be rewarded with wonderful views of Westminster Abbey, the Houses of Parliament, St. James's Park and Buckingham Palace. So, ladies and gents, we're going to have a look inside. I'm going to do my little quiet talking again. Sorry, it's just a bit noisy outside. Let's go straight in. Now, ladies and gents, you're going to genuflect with me. Look at that amazing entrance. So, the architect Bentley, the idea behind this design of the high altar, I'm going to do a little genuflect, was that everybody could see the high altar from any angle of the chapel. Now the design, Neo-Byzantine, is to represent just below the cross you have marbles, and there's 63 marbles in total. And I'm going to point out a few of them throughout the church. These marbles come from Sweden, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, North America and South America, an Italian marble. So the idea behind it was below the cross is the heavenly earth, and above should have been all mosaics, but it's not completed. But in fact, I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's a lot darker, the brick, because of the candles in the church. But one gentleman here has just pointed out to me, and the idea behind it is that heaven is and earth is below, and heaven on top. But as he liked to say to me, he said it's like Christianity and Christ's work is never fully done. We are constantly trying to work on behalf of the Sacred Heart. So this stunning structure here. Now I just wanted to show you these two beautiful pillars here. Now these were made in Sweden, and the red was, well, purposeful, was on purpose essentially, to represent the blood of Christ. So we're going to head through, and I want to show you one of my favorite saints coming up. I'm going to minimize it here. Now look at all these beautiful marbles, you guys. And here is one of the very famous saints from Ireland, is Saint Anthony, ladies and gents. And Saint Anthony, we pray to him quite a bit in Ireland. The poor man is probably used a bit more than he should be. Saint Anthony helps us find lost things. So any of you that are familiar with Saint Anthony, as soon as something's lost, which is quite important to you, you pray to Saint Anthony and he does help you. So I want to thank him personally for, over the years, finding so many things for us. Saint Anthony. Now here is the baptistry. I don't think we can get inside at the moment, but I just wanted to show you. So the baptismal font you see here, I'm going to put this inside, was made especially in Rome, as was the cathedral, which is the seat. This is the church, the seat of the Archbishop of Westminster. But look at John the Baptist over here. Look at that stunning. Now that's hollow. It's made of tin. John the Baptist, of course, famously baptized Christ in the Bible. So certain parts, as I mentioned, were made in Rome. The font, the baptismal font, the pulpit, and the cathedral, which is the seat of the Archbishop of Westminster, which was used actually by two popes to deliver their homilies in Mass here in the church. But imagine baptizing your child in that beautiful font. So we're going to make our way up here. I want to show you this stunning chapel here. There is going to be, oh, thank you. Oh my God, he's let me in, you guys. Thank you so much. So there we go. I just wanted to show you this. I'm just going to tap on it there so you get an idea. Look at that stunning. I mean, isn't that just beautiful? Now, they're not famous for their statues in here because it's more about the mosaics in the area. But it's made of tin from Cornwall, Cornish tin. And it's a replica of one that stands outside a Lutheran cathedral in Copenhagen. So I just want to tap on it there so you can see. Oh, how beautiful is that, ladies and gents? So we're going to head next. I want to go into this chapel. So how it works here, you have the main altar and the main church, and then you have all these chapels dedicated to famous saints. And this chapel is the chapel of St. Gregory, who became Pope Gregory, and St. Augustine, who in 597, so you have Pope Gregory on the left, and you have St. Augustine on the right. And Pope Gregory had intended to come and convert England to Catholicism. In around that time, there would have been one very small church, but the Holy Spirit had other ideas for him. He became Pope, and he sent his adversary and his man his right-hand man, who is right hand there beside him for eternity, Augustus, to England to convert, well, to bring Catholicism to the country, Christianity. Now, what's very important here is this wonderful man is interred here, ladies and gents, and this is Cardinal Hume. And he was the Archbishop of Westminster here, a beautiful, beautiful saintly man who died in 1999. And he is forever interred here in the chapel. Look at this. Now, I just wanted to show you on top as well. This is just one chapel surrounding the entire church. I mean, isn't it exquisite? I really hope my filming tries to do this justice. It's quite difficult. There's so much to see, and I do need to narrow it down a little for you all. So, we talk an awful lot about St. Paul's Cathedral, with all these beautiful granites and marbles, and we talk a lot about Westminster Abbey, but people tend to forget how beautiful Westminster Cathedral is here. Now, next we're going to head to one of my favourites. Well, I would be biased, obviously. The Chapel of St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. And here is a little dedication to him. I won't be able to read them all out, folks, because there's a lot coming up along the way. But St. Patrick, 387 to 461, brought the Christian faith to Ireland and is venerated as their patron saint. And indeed he is. Now let's have a look inside the little chapel of St. Patrick. And there he is. Now let's go a little close because I want to show you the shamrocks underneath. These are all made of mother of pearl, and there's 3 different types of marble here as well. And these 3 different types of marble come from Ireland. The black marble is from, I believe, Bog in Kilkenny. The red marble is from Middleton in County Cork, I believe, and the green marble is from Connemara. Look at our St. Patrick. And you'll see the shamrocks there. I'll just go a little further up just to see the beautiful shamrocks. And you'll see the emblem of the snake coming down the side. And of course, legend has it he banished the snakes from Ireland. So that's St. Patrick. Now these are all little candles, and when I'm finished filming, I'll come back and light a couple of candles for my own family members. That's St. Patrick. Next we're going to, now there's something I want to draw your attention to as well, and these are absolutely stunning. The Stations of the Cross here, ladies and gents, were actually done by a chap called Eric Gill, and they are exquisite. I would definitely take your time to have a look at these. You can do your devotions to the sacred, to the cross, but stunning, stunning work by Eric Gill. And there's St. Patrick again, ladies and gents. Now I'm being really quiet because obviously this is a working church. Mass was celebrated this morning from 10:30 to 11:30, and confession is on at 12. But every day there is exposition of the Blessed Sacrament as well. Now this is beautiful, this tiny little chapel here. Look at the marble, ladies and gents. I mean, now I believe this is the chapel of St. Andrew. Yes, it is, of Scotland. Now, even though Scotland has its own hierarchy, one of the patrons of the church had requested, or one of the donors, that there would be a little chapel to St. Andrew. And if you look above, the mosaics on top, that are to represent the waves in the ocean, as St. Andrew himself was a fisherman. And even so, if you look below here, You will see all types of fish, mollusks, crabs, swordfish, to represent his life's work. He was originally a fisherman before he was beatified and made a saint. Now up here as well, stunning mosaics again, and what suspiciously looks like the Loch Ness Monster is essentially to represent the ocean and the waves. So there you have the Chapel of St. Andrew. Now we're going to move further up. There is a guided tour behind me, so I really don't want to interrupt the guided tour. There's another one of Eric Gill's amazing Stations of the Cross. I mean, they're truly beautiful. And we'll make our way up here. Oh yeah, this is a dedication to Saint David, and in fact is one of the newest works in the church, and it's truly stunning. It really stands out, ladies and gents. Just to show you there. Look at the rich colours in it. Now this is the Chapel of St. Paul, but there is somebody praying here, so I don't want to disturb them, ladies and gents. Yeah, so I'm not going to disturb anyone, but this is on this mosaic, the newest one. All the gold from there, I believe, is from Ireland and Wales. Now, just over here is the tomb of Cardinal Heenan, who preceded the Archbishop Hume, and he was the 8th Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Heenan. Now, we're going to make our way up here to the Lady Chapel, dedicated to Our Lady, but this is probably one of the most beautiful chapels in the entire church. So this is the confessionals. I don't want to disturb people. They do have confession here every day, and it's a fully working and living church, so it's a great honor to have been given permission to actually film in here. Now this is the stunning Lady Chapel. Now it tells the story of Our Lady in the mosaics on top. This is where the first Mass was celebrated in the church. And I'll just try to make it out for you there. I believe it's Saint. There is a beautiful mosaic on top of Our Lady. I think that's Saint Peter with her by the Tree of Life. Yes, it is. And if you look closely, the first Mass was celebrated here in 1903 in the actual entire church. And there's a great devotion to Our Lady amongst the Catholic community, particularly here as well in Westminster Cathedral. And I do believe, and I don't want to say too much, but I'm just going to show you some pictures of, I believe, Westminster Cathedral's here, and the Tower of London is in the mosaics here. It's impossible to capture it all in film, ladies and gents. I will do my very best for you, but it's just too much to take in. It's really beautiful. Now the rood you see here weighs 2.5 tons, ladies and gents. I believe it's made of gilt, not gilt gold, I think it's marble as well. But on top of this is the main altar. I mean, how stunningly beautiful. And behind it is a little difficult to see, but that's where the choir, and they have an amazing choir here that perform daily, and they're kind of hidden from view. They're at the back here of the rood. But look at the mosaics on top. I mean, honestly, it's breathtaking, folks, and we really don't give it the recognition it deserves. So you have got to make a visit to the Mother Catholic Church of England and Wales. There's Christ top. I'll take a view of the cross, which is above my head, in just a moment as well. But this is the cathedral, which is the seat of the Archbishop of Westminster. This was made in Rome and was a gift from the bishops of England and Wales to the Archbishop. Pope John Paul II delivered his homily during he officiated Mass here. Also, the Queen attended a choir service here, and it was the first time an Anglican Queen had attended a Christian service or a Catholic service in this country. She also attended a flower show here in 1977 in celebration of the Silver Jubilee of the Queen, and Pope Benedict himself officiated Mass here too. This is again the main high altar. The pulpit was also made in Rome. And just to show you the view from the high altar down the chapel, the main entrance. So we can make our way around here. And this is where the exposition of the Blessed Sacrament is daily. So this usually takes place here. Exposition of the Blessed Sacrament. And as you can see, people are here worshipping daily. It's genuflecting there. Now, so the Blessed Sacrament Chapel, at the consecration during the Mass, the gifts of bread and wine on the altar keep their physical appearance but are not only spiritually changed, rather they are actually transformed into the body and blood of Christ. Okay, so now this is the tomb of Cardinal Vaughan, who was the very first to build the cathedral here on the site. Herbert Vaughan, it says, Cardinal Priest of the Holy Roman Church, 3rd Archbishop of Westminster and founder of the cathedral. Born in 1832 and he died in 1903. But the dedication to him is pretty special in here, to give you an idea. I believe the chapel is dedicated to Thomas Becket, who was one of the Catholic martyrs. And we'll see here the chapel of St. Thomas of Canterbury. Yes, the body of Cardinal and 3rd Archbishop of Westminster and founder of Westminster Cathedral, but dedicated to one of the Catholic martyrs. And we'll be speaking about one of the more famous ones in a moment, St. John of Southworth. Now, let's head this direction. I mean, this beautiful spiritual place, right, and you can even hear in the background the police, but this beautiful spiritual place, right in the heart of London, Victoria. Okay. Oh yeah, this is the other chapel I wanted to show you here. Let me just... the chapel of St. Joseph. Sorry, the rood I was speaking about is made of gilded and painted wood. Now this one I'm going to take a seat in for a minute. This is the chapel of the Holy Family. And look how beautiful that is. Mary, Joseph, St. Joseph and Jesus. Just truly beautiful. And the Holy Spirit, the dove. I feel so privileged to have been allowed to film in here, ladies and gents. It really is an honor. I hope I do it justice. Now, this is the tomb of Cardinal Arthur Hinsley, the 5th Archbishop of Westminster, born on August the 25th, 1865, and died March 17th on St. Patrick's Day, bless him, 1943. Rest in peace. Now, one of the traditions in these chapels is here's the Cardinal's hat, right up on top, and apparently it's left there, and when it finally disintegrates and falls, that means the soul of the Cardinal goes straight to heaven. Now, that could be just a bit of Catholic urban legend, but it happens in above quite a few tombs of cardinals. Look at the detailing in that ceiling, folks. So the beautiful chapel of the Holy Family and the dove of the Holy Spirit on top. Now, this one was fairly recent, and it just represents the workers around St. Joseph, who himself was a carpenter, of course. And that's the chapel of the Holy Family. Now let's head to the next chapel along the way. Oh yeah, this is the chapel dedicated to the Catholic martyrs, ladies and gents, and I wanted to show you some of them up here. So this is St. John Southworth. This is a fascinating story, and I'm about to tell you all about it. Let's head in first. I want to show you the mosaics here are all dedicated to the Catholic martyrs. Now, I've recently done a video on the Tyburn tree and the execution site and the convent of Tyburn, which is dedicated to the Catholic martyrs and the nuns inside. So keep an eye out for that one. But just here in the corner, you will see the name St. John Southworth. Now, St. John Southworth is interred here, and this is his actual grave, ladies and gents. St. John Southworth trained as a priest. He came from the north of England. He trained as a priest in France, and he was ordained, and he returned to England. Now, this is the time of King Charles I of England. And he returned to this country, an ordained Catholic, knowing full well he could be executed for his religion. But he returned anyway, and he worked in the poorhouses in the immediate area. So it was a treasonable act to be a Catholic back then, but he continued to work with the slum dwellings and put his Christian work into the poverty and the people of the area. He was eventually arrested and he was sentenced to death by King Charles I. However, his wife, Queen Henrietta Marie, who was the wife of King Charles I, she intervened and had him reprieved from the death penalty. However, he was banished to Europe. That didn't stop him, however, because after he was banished, he returned again. But this time it was after the Reformation. And remember, King Charles I of England had been executed by Oliver Cromwell. So he came back undeterred, spoke the Catholic word and worked with the poor, and eventually somebody gave him up to Oliver Cromwell. He was arrested again and sentenced to be hung, drawn and quartered. And he was at Tyburn, at the Tyburn gallows. He was 62 years of age, the poor man, when he suffered that horrendous, horrendous fate. Now, the Spanish ambassador saved his body and brought him to a Catholic college in Douai in France, where he was buried. However, when the Catholics were being run out of France during the Revolution, they buried his body underneath to save it. They interred him to hide his body. But years later, when a road widening scheme was taking place around and they were demolishing the cathedral, they found the remains. And he was brought back here and interred here. Now, every year they have a prayer service for him, and he himself doesn't weigh very much. He's only bones, but his actual coffin here weighs an absolute ton. So they bring 8 soldiers from the barracks to lift it up without disturbing St. John of Southworth up to the top of the altar. So another one of the more famous martyrs of Tyburn, ladies and gentlemen, St. John of Southworth. And what an amazing story and dedication to your faith. Now, this stunning piece, again, is Eric Gill. I mean, it's just magnificent. I believe it's Thomas More and John Fisher. It's a masterpiece. And on the roof, you have the names of all of these Catholic martyrs. It's quite trippy, actually. And I love the difference in colour. Isn't it very modern? It's quite bizarre, but it definitely stands out. Now, just behind you here as well, 2 miles beyond this wall, our martyrs give their lives for the faith. Just spectacular. I want to bring you to the Chapel of the Holy Souls, and that is celebrated, Mass is celebrated in here every day in November. November is the month of the Holy Souls, and the Holy Souls Chapel. They celebrate Mass here every November. I don't want to be disrespectful because this lady is praying in the Holy Souls Chapel, but I just wanted to show you a beautiful mosaic. Now, I will do a little voiceover about that mosaic. The lady was praying and I didn't want to disturb her, but look at this. So on the mosaic you're looking at right now, it depicts the journey of the soul. From the bottom left, the soul is enchained and making its way across, weeping and repenting in sin. Then on the bottom right, if you look closely, it gradually drops its trappings of sin and chains and passes behind Saint Michael, who has the devil in chains. And then, clad in white, the holy soul ascends to heaven. Stunning dedication. So these are all the chief pastors of the Catholic Church in England, showing their communion with the position with the Apostolic See of Rome. And these are all the popes. A little difficult to see because it's kind of shining. You'd have to come in person to see it, ladies and gents. And then this was the original plan by Bentley for the cathedral, which is also on display. Let's have a look at it there. Stunningly beautiful. Years to come, they may plan on finishing the mosaics in the ceiling, but the scaffolding alone would cost millions of pounds. So, I mean, all donations to the Catholic Church here are greatly received. But what a beautiful devotion for Catholics. And of course, again, we're back to Eric Gill. Stunning work. And I just wanted to show you, I'm trying to find it, there is a dedication here to Joan of Arc, who is now Saint Joan of Arc, which is quite ironic. The chief pastors of the Catholic Church in England showing their communion with the Apostolic See of Rome. And I believe, is she down here maybe? That's Jesus and Our Lady. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the stunning, stunning Westminster Cathedral. And here we have St. Peter. It's modelled on one that's in Rome. And I'll give you one last view of the front of the beautiful church. You'll see along here mosaics there. And there you have the stunning Mother Church of England and Wales, the largest Catholic church in the United Kingdom. And what an amazing place. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tour, and I hope I did it some bit of justice for you. As ever, this is Sinead with Free Tours by Foot in the stunning Westminster Cathedral. I just wanted to quickly come back because I couldn't find it initially, and I've just got her now. This is the stunning mosaic of Joan of Arc. Now, this was put up before she was actually beatified, so she is Saint Joan of Arc. But what's amazing about this is that when French people come, they are so thrilled to see her here, French Catholics. And it's also quite amazing to think that in the largest the largest Catholic cathedral in the United Kingdom, she is here, considering it was the English who killed her. So that's quite ironic. So that's what I was looking for, Saint Joan of Arc. For my Canadian friends, this is a wonderful dedication to the panels erected by the Catholics of the Royal Canadian Air Force overseas, so the glory of God and cherished memory of their beloved comrades. And look at what they've done here, all made of nails. Look how stunning that is. It always blows me away how talented people can be. You feel slightly inadequate. Look at that, isn't it divine? So that's for my Canadian friends. And this was pointed out to me by the lovely Mr. McNulty, who's been a great assistance to me today. And I want to thank Father Whiting as well for permissions here. It's very rare you get into such a beautiful place. That's the confessional box. And we're going to head up. I have a secret little passageway he's going to bring me down. I'm not allowed to film, I'm sorry you guys, but I'll tell you all about it later.